Happy Wolf's heartfelt message. Dear Lion Teacher, Happy Wolf misses you a lot. Just like a greedy little mouse, craving sweet peanut treats. Happy Wolf read this little poem over and over again, reminiscing about the times when Lion Teacher had shared delicious peanuts. Lion Teacher's homemade peanuts were incredibly tasty. As Happy Wolf poured his longing into the poem, he happily handed it to the principal, requesting that it be passed on to Lion Teacher. But after many days had passed, Lion Teacher still hadn't returned to the kindergarten. Is writing poems and drawing pictures not enough? I don't know what else to do. Happy Wolf felt a sense of urgency and sadness, even howling uncontrollably during class. Suddenly, he remembered a story he had once read. A little mouse, dressed in fine clothes and holding a rose, proposed to another little mouse, and the response was immediate. Aha! I can do that too. Dressed in his finest outfit, Happy Wolf brushed his every tooth and combed every strand of fur on his big tail. Then, he held a bouquet of roses and had the principal lead him to visit Lion Teacher. Oh, Lion Teacher was busy tinkering with a pile of peculiar machine parts. Happy Wolf lifted the bouquet of roses and said, Lion Teacher, I love you very much. Please come back to the kindergarten and continue teaching us. Happy Wolf, did you bring me roses? Lion Teacher couldn't help but chuckle. He then gently picked up Happy Wolf and said, Thank you for the flowers and for your drawings and poems. I know you love me a lot, and I can't bear to be apart from all of you. Once I'm done with the singing and dancing mechanical lion, I'll return. When that time comes, I won't just teach you how to draw and write poems, but I'll also teach you how to make toy machines. Wow, Lion Teacher, you're amazing! Happy Wolf was overjoyed. He hugged Lion Teacher's big head tightly and planted a big kiss. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Red Cherry Tree. On a cliff high above, there lived a little bird, and her nest was nestled in a deep crevice in the rocks. The cliff was bare, without a single blade of grass, so the little bird had to fly far into the woods every day to find her food. One day, the little bird found a ripe red cherry and carried it back to her nest. The fruit was like a beautiful red gem, and the little bird delicately savored its sweet juice before carefully placing the cherry pit in her nest. As winter approached, the little bird left the area and flew south to find warmth. The following spring, she didn't return to this place. Instead, she made a home in a lush forest. After all, what could this bare cliff offer her? Another spring arrived, and the little bird was now a mother, flying with her 3 young ones. Mom, is that a fat, juicy worm down there? The 3 little birds asked as they soared high in the sky. No, it's the winding, meandering river, said Bird Mom. Look at those beautiful little green plants in the fields. No, those are tall and thriving trees, Bird Mom chuckled. With her little ones in tow, they flew over the grand river, over the fields, and towards a gray cliff. Mom, look, there's a big tree on the cliff. How could a big tree grow there? It's just a small grass, Bird Mom laughed. Kids, try not to make mistakes all the time. But one day, the one who made the mistake was Bird Mom herself. Peering out from the deep crevice in the cliff was a tall red cherry tree. Its beautiful green leaves gently swayed in the wind, almost as if waving to the birds. Among the clusters of leaves, a single red cherry glimmered, touched by the sun's rays as they flickered through the treetop like a magical golden spider web. Chirp, chirp, the 3 little birds landed on the cherry tree, full of excitement. Children, not so loud for now. Look, there's a nest among the branches. This tree already has its owner, Bird Mom said as she landed beside the nest. It looks so familiar, just like the nest I built. Bird Mom suddenly realized, a few years ago, the cherry pit she stored in her nest had sprouted, and it had grown into this large tree. This is our home. Bird Mom's eyes welled up with tears, and she and her children nestled in the embrace of the cherry tree, reminiscing about the past. Chirp, chirp, the little birds flew onto the branches, enjoying the delicious red cherries, and carefully placing the cherry pits in the crevices in the cliffs. Mom, when will these cherry pits grow into big trees? When you become parents, this cliff will be covered with cherry trees, bearing many beautiful red cherries. The little birds continued to enjoy their meal, dreaming of the day when their cherry pits would become magnificent trees, just like their home now. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. Let's go camping. The summer breeze carried the fragrance of flowers and the sweet melodies of songbirds. It swept across hills, meadows, and reached every place in need of joy. We're going camping. Tao Tao's family and Yaya's family decided to go camping together. They drove to a beautiful forest. Dad, let's set up our tent right here, Tao Tao suggested, pointing to a large tree. Sheltering the tent under the big tree should keep us cool. Tao Tao's dad shook his head and said, "Little buddy, we can't set up the tent under a big tree. What if we encounter a thunderstorm? It can be very dangerous." "All right, how about we pitch our tent on that tall hill over there? We can enjoy a great view from up there." Tao Tao pointed to a small hill not far away. Tao Tao's mom also disagreed and said, "The hilltop is very windy, and if we face strong winds, our tent might be blown away." "Oh, I didn't realize it could be so dangerous," Tao Tao replied. Yaya was also scouting for a camping spot. She pointed to a location near a small stream and said, "Dad, how about setting up our tent by the stream? This way, it's convenient for fetching water when we cook." But Yaya's dad had his concerns. "Sweetheart, if it rains heavily, the stream can flood, and that would be dangerous." "Wow, that's terrifying," Yaya remarked. It seemed that selecting a proper campsite required careful consideration. In the end, both Tao Tao's dad and Yaya's dad chose a flat and sheltered location, ideal for setting up their tents. Setting up the tents was a job for the parents, as Tao Tao and Yaya were still very young. They watched and learned from the side. All four adults collaborated to set up 3 tents, 2 for sleeping and 1 for cooking and dining. They were well prepared, bringing camping equipment, portable gas stoves, and utensils. Time to prepare dinner. Let's get cooking. Shh! Tao Tao's dad was rinsing the rice. Thump, thump, thump. Tao Tao's mom started chopping vegetables. Clank, clank, clank. Yaya's dad was cleaning the dishes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yaya's mom ignited the stove to start cooking. "We can help set the table," Tao Tao and Yaya, still eager to participate, prepared the table with a flowery tablecloth and arranged the bowls and utensils. "Oh, a little squirrel!" Tao Tao waved to the squirrel. "Dear squirrel, come and join us." "Look, a little monkey." Yaya waved at the monkey. "Dear monkey, come and join us." During dinner, their tent was visited by 2 squirrels and 3 monkeys. The evening was perfect. The forest night was peaceful and beautiful. Both Tao Tao's and Yaya's families drifted into a sweet dream. Their dreams were sweet for a reason. Crickets strummed their 6-stringed guitars, and the weaving mother sang. The squirrels and monkeys danced around the tent while praying, wishing you safety, happiness, and sweet dreams. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Little Mouse's Corn Heist. One autumn, when the corn that Little Bear had planted was ripe, he decided to invite many friends over to celebrate the harvest and share the delicious corn. Little Mouse wanted to enjoy some corn too, so he cleverly disguised himself and confidently joined the gathering. But did anyone figure out who the mysterious guest was? As autumn arrived, Little Bear began to harvest his corn. He invited a multitude of friends to come together and celebrate the bountiful harvest. Little Mouse had a secret plan. He wanted to sneak some corn to eat. But he was worried about being caught, so he decided to change his appearance. Little Mouse used a watermelon rind to make a hat, fashioned a mask out of winter melon vines, donned sunglasses made from elm leaves, wore banana peels as shoes, and put on clothes made from ink bottles. To top it off, he wore gloves made from tomatoes. He thought he looked just like a professional boxer. Little Mouse believed his disguise would make him unrecognizable, so he strutted confidently into Little Bear's house. However, as soon as he entered Little Bear's yard, he was instantly recognized by everyone, and they promptly ushered him out. Little Mouse returned home and looked in the mirror, only to realize that he had forgotten to hide his tail. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Ant-Moving Crew. On a hillside, beneath a towering tree, there lived an ant-moving crew. As autumn turned into winter, the weather grew colder with each passing day. The little animals were busy preparing their belongings to move into their warm winter quarters. So, the ant-moving crew was busier than ever. The roads were bustling with traffic, and the ants-moving trucks were large, which made them drive slowly. If they wanted to speed up, they had to honk their horns. But honking was against the town's traffic rules, so the ants couldn't dare to honk. They continued to drive slowly, ensuring that every family's daily necessities, furniture, and groceries were safely delivered. Consequently, the ant-moving crew had an excellent reputation and a thriving business. One night, the ants gathered for a meeting, and they discussed a topic. How could they help their clients move into their new homes more quickly while still ensuring that every business was handled well? Their neighbor, the little bird, spoke up. Why don't you turn your big trucks into several smaller ones? Smaller vehicles can move faster, allowing you to serve more families each day. The ants were astounded by the suggestion. Converting their large trucks into smaller ones would require a significant investment, and they didn't have the money for that. They pondered throughout the night but couldn't come up with a feasible solution. The next day, the ants were helping a frog move. Along the way, the frog croaked loudly, "Ribbit! Ribbit!" The vehicles ahead of the ants quickly cleared the way. The ants noticed how the vehicles sped up, and they all started to smile. They recorded the sound of the frogs croaking and kept it for future use. The following spring, the frog woke up from its hibernation. As it hopped to the edge of the pond, it suddenly heard its own voice coming from the nearby road, and it was quite loud. "Ribbit! Ribbit!" What was going on? The frog recalled the previous year when it was moving, and how it croaked all the way. It realized the ants had used its voice without its consent. The frog grew angrier the more it thought about it and hurriedly made its way to the Lion King's court to lodge a complaint. The Lion King conducted an investigation and confirmed the situation. Eventually, the ants were found guilty of using the frog's voice without permission. The verdict required the ant-moving crew to provide free moving services for 2 seasons before they could resume their regular business. The ignorant ants deeply regretted their actions. They hung their heads low, murmuring, "If only we had known that it was infringement, we would never have done such a thing." The lesson learned was invaluable, and the ant-moving crew realized the importance of respecting the rights of others. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Treasure in the Grapeyard. On the other side of the mountain, there lived an old farmer and his 3 sons. The old farmer owned a vast vineyard, where he harvested many sweet, juicy, and deep purple grapes every year. However, as the farmer's strength waned with age, he could no longer work in the vineyard. Unfortunately, his 3 sons were quite lazy, and the vineyard was left to wither away. On his deathbed, he gathered his sons and said, "My children, in the vineyard, I've hidden a treasure. When times get tough, dig it up to provide for your family. With that, he breathed his last breath. After their father's passing, the sons took their shovels and plows to the vineyard, digging and tilling the soil 3 feet deep. They searched diligently but found no treasure. However, their efforts brought unexpected rewards that year. The vineyard yielded an unprecedented, bountiful harvest. The grapes, deep purple like rubies, gleamed brightly, shining like precious gems. The 3 brothers rejoiced and danced around the grapevines. Once the grapes ripened, they transported them to the town and sold them, earning a considerable sum of money. Even though we didn't find any treasure, loosening the soil was a wise choice, the youngest brother exclaimed with joy. The second brother said, "Now I understand our father's intention. He wanted us to work hard, and the future reward would be an endless treasure." The eldest brother reflected, "Look at the vineyard full of grapes, they shine just like diamonds, beautiful and brilliant." And so, the 3 brothers realized that their father's treasure was not gold or jewels but the fruitful vineyard they had cultivated together. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids. The Wandering House. On the other side of the mountain, there stood an empty little house in a quaint town, living a routine and uneventful life. Every morning, vendors passed by, hawking their goods, their bicycle bells and car horns resonating through the house's windows. In the afternoon, sparrows perched on the eaves, chirping away for hours. At night, the dim streetlight at the corner of the street provided the only company as the house settled down to sleep. Although it was just a small house, it had a wish to hear the echoes in the valleys, witness the crabs in the sea, and experience the bustling life of a big city. The world was so vast, and the house wanted to explore. One evening, the little house, with a determined expression, uttered, "I want to go wandering." "What are you saying?" The neighboring house, tightly attached, coughed a couple of times. "I'm old, and I can't endure your commotion." "I'm sorry, I'm going to, relocate. I will be as careful as I can," the little house responded gently. "I will miss you, Grandpa Old House." "Little house, be cautious. After all, it's quite inconvenient for a house to move." The street light at the corner, upon hearing the house's plan, couldn't help but worry. "Thank you for your warning. I will miss you too." The house bid farewell to the streetlight and began its journey. The house traveled through many places and met various people. During bad weather, it offered shelter to many travelers, protecting them from the elements. On sunny days, it opened all its doors and windows, letting the wind flow freely through the empty rooms. One day, the little house encountered a special traveler named Alan. Alan extended an invitation. "Hello, I've traveled to many places, and you are the most unique house I've seen. Can I stay inside and be your friend?" Oh, for all these years, the little house had been empty. Although many people came and went, no one had ever truly lived inside. This was such a special idea that, in the end, the house accepted Alan's invitation. On the first day, Alan brought some flowers to decorate the house's bedroom. The second day, he filled the house's bookshelves with books. The third day, Alan purchased simple groceries and cooked warm, comforting meals in the house's kitchen. By the 10th day, the little house was almost fully furnished, and Alan had a new idea. "This amazing house deserves more than just me living here. Can I invite some friends to stay?" Ah, more friends? The house had never considered this before. Blushing, it nodded its head, and even the window glass seemed to shiver in agreement. It was shy but pleased with the prospect of having more friends. And now, even without wandering, each day's life would be entirely different. And so, the little house transformed into a wandering house inn. This time, the little house decided not to wander anymore. It settled down with Alan. Now, the house was like a gracious host, welcoming travelers and wanderers from all around the world. Each one paid with their own stories, and each brought their unique experiences. Today, many people book the Little House online, sometimes needing to reserve 2 or 3 months in advance. After all, spending time in a house that once wandered is a truly wonderful experience. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Find More Story for Kids. Little Ant takes a bus. Little Ant climbed onto a bus at the public bus station. He was on his way to visit his grandmother in the forest. Inside the bus, there were many good friends like Little Lamb, Little Dog, Little Monkey, and Little Pig. Some of them were heading to the forest to pick mushrooms, some were going to play hide and seek, and others were planning to spend the day by the forest lake. Beep beep, and the bus started moving. Everyone began singing songs, feeling so joyful. Beep beep, the bus reached a small station where Granny Bear got on. She was going to visit her granddaughter in the forest. Granny Bear climbed aboard and looked around, puzzled. All the seats were taken. Little Lamb said, "Granny Bear, come sit here with me." Little Dog chimed in, "Granny Bear, come sit here with me." Little Monkey offered, "Granny Bear, come sit here with me." Everyone said, "Granny Bear, come sit with me." Granny Bear replied, "Oh, thank you all, my dear children. But if I sit in one of your seats, won't you all have to stand?" At that moment, Little Ant shouted in his loudest voice, "No, no, Granny Bear, please come sit with me." Granny Bear asked, "But where will you sit then?" "You should sit first, and I'll find a place." Little Ant replied mysteriously, "You sit down first, and I'll have a spot to sit." Then he blinked his eyes mischievously. Granny Bear took her seat, but where had Little Ant gone? She couldn't see him anywhere. Little Ant, where are you?" Granny Bear called out. "Granny Bear, I'm right here." The voice seemed to be right by Granny Bear's ear. Oh, Little Ant had climbed onto Granny Bear's shoulder to sit. During the journey, Little Ant sang many songs to Granny Bear. Those songs were so beautiful. You could see Granny Bear smiling with her head tilted as she listened, filled with joy. Finally, they arrived in the forest, and everyone happily got off the bus. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Find More Story for Kids. Little Crab's Job Search. Little Crab, known for blowing bubbles, had grown up, and he wanted to find a job. He went to a barber shop, swinging his large claws to give customers haircuts. Little Crab was quick and did a great job, but the hot air from the hairdryer made him uncomfortable. The bubbles in his mouth couldn't come out. Little Crab decided to try working as a librarian in the library, delivering books and magazines to kids. He had many hands and could carry lots of books at once. However, his large claws accidentally tore some pages, and his mouth bubbles ended up making the books wet. Next, he applied for a waiter job at a restaurant. He could carry dishes quickly and steadily. His large claws even worked as bottle openers. But while opening a bottle of beer, it foamed up, and bubbles started coming out of Little Crab's mouth. He thought that the restaurant guests might not like this, so he decided to look for another job. Outside a food store, Little Crab contemplated his situation. He worried that people would think he was greedy because he kept blowing bubbles. He concluded that he should visit a doctor to get his bubble problem sorted before finding a job. At the hospital, the doctor told Little Crab that it's normal for crabs to blow bubbles. It wasn't an illness. He advised him to be patient and keep searching for a job. Little Crab walked to a clothing store and gazed at the beautiful clothes. He feared his large claws might tear them and that his bubbles might make the clothes wet. Continuing down the street, Little Crab eventually arrived at a store that sold soap and detergent. He thought, "This is the perfect job for me." He used soap bubbles to blow large, floating bubbles outside the store. The bubbles looked like balloons and attracted a lot of people. There were so many customers, and Little Crab felt extremely happy. He wrote a letter to his mom. "Mom, I've found a job, and I'm very happy every day. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids." Wonderful soil. Little Bunny and his mother went to the countryside to visit their old family home. "This flower is so beautiful. I want to take it home," Little Bunny said. "It's not good to pick flowers without permission," his mother replied. "Why don't we bring back some soil instead?" "Earth is everywhere," Little Bunny said. His mother smiled, saying, "Well, it's not the same. The soil here has many treasures hidden within." Indeed, the soil at home was yellow, but the soil here was dark and shiny. Was it because it hid treasures? Little Bunny leaned closer and discovered some grass leaves, crushed petals, snail shells, tiny black insects crawling around, and even a lost marble. Oh, and there was a bit of chicken poop. "Are these all treasures in the soil?" Little Bunny asked. "Not only these," his mother replied. "The soil is so wonderful. I want to bring some home too," Little Bunny said, scooping up a handful of soil beneath his favorite flower. Back home, his mother placed the soil in a small flower pot. Little Bunny molded some of the soil into a small clay pig and put it next to the pot. Every day, his mother would water the soil in the flower pot a little, and Little Bunny did the same for the clay pig. After a few days, green shoots emerged from the soil in the flower pot. His mother told Little Bunny that they were carrot and rapeseed sprouts. The clay pig also grew some green hair. "What kind of sprout is this?" Little Bunny asked. His mother didn't know either. The sprouts continued to grow, producing beautiful leaves and tiny flower buds. It bloomed, and it was the most treasured thing for Little Bunny. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Find more story for kids.